Hello, I'm Shirley Young, and I'm here to help. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, I'm Shirley Young, and I'm here to help. Hello, I'm Shirley Young, and I'm here to help. Hello. of all, can anyone, tell, can you hear me? Okay, so I'm not seeing any thumbs up or anything like that. Okay, so I'm gonna. So I will be the moderator today. We're waiting for Ricardo to enter the room. He is helping out with another session and he should be here shortly. So we'll be starting at 11:15. Now, okay, thank you. I'm just going to say my video has been working. I've just been involved with many different sessions over the last week and my video is not working now. So anyways, you have my photo and I will be here in the session to answer questions. I will be monitoring the chat mainly. Okay. Look forward to working with you this.
Hey, good people, welcome, welcome. We will get started in about 5 minutes. 4 minutes. In the meantime, you can access the slide deck via that bit.ly right there. Or this link here. I did the preview link on the bit.ly, so I'm thinking that it might not be what people are used to looking at. So choose one of those two to take you to the same place. It'll just look a little different. Hi, Shirley, how are you?
Hey there, very good. Glad to be helping out today. And I will add in the sign in and feedback.
You guys see it okay? Let me close all this other stuff. You see that okay, Shirley? Yeah?
Yes, I can. You can see it great.
All right, so we got 2 minutes. I'll get cracking in about 2 minutes.
The only thing is do you want to make it full screen? On mine, at least it's kind of in a
I will. I'm closing out all the other tabs that I had for the last session.
Oh, okay, good enough.
Recorded.
All right, we got a clean slate now. Here we go. We'll get started soon with critically evaluating media tools and resources. This is a new one, so bear with me. So let's see if it works. Welcome, welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for attending this session or about to attend this session. It's always nice to pull up the session on your phone as well, so that you can see where you're at, just in case. All right, folks. So I'm not going to start until 11:15. That's what it says to start. A fabulous colleague of mine in the district said, you got to start on time. That shows you respect teachers. And so here we go. We're going to start. All right. So this is critically evaluating media and other tools. You could access today's deck by going to that bit.ly, or I think Shirley will put the URL in the chat as well for you. So make sure you access the deck because there's lots of links in there, there's things to browse through and like that. I think you only have to sign in once today. And so if you've already signed in, fantastic. Let's move. All right, so what we plan to achieve every day, we provide each and every student the quality instruction and equitable support required to thrive in the 21st century. We're going to give you some tools to do that today. In the chat, good folks, if you could put your name, school and grade, and answer one of two, it's supposed to say one or two of the following questions. How has media literacy made it into your classroom? Why do you think it's important to bring media literacy to your students? And what is one thing you would like to take from today? Go ahead, Amy.
Ricardo, you might have to turn your chat off and back on again so everybody could chat with each other.
Oh man, good call, Dan. Thank you. Right on, man. Thanks.
Yeah, it's working.
Yeah, right on. That's great, Dan. Good check. All right, so. All right, good folks. Liang Shao, Parrot, Burton. Go ahead and tell us how you've seen media literacy in your classroom. Derek at Connolly teaches 9th through 12th grade. Thanks for coming, Derek. Speech pathologist at Lincoln. Kate Egan, Commodore Slow. Thank you, Nathan, for coming. Thank you, Warren, and Michelle, and Samantha. So how have you guys seen media literacy show up in classrooms, or how have you shared this information with your students? Mr. McGarry says they're very savvy media critics. We are always being sold something for sure. Matt Pringle, welcome, Matt. Good to see you here. I'm hoping to give you some more ways to teach media literacy, Matt. Let's see, we have Terry Lai, welcome. And Terry Lai says, more tools to impart media literacy to my students. I'm hoping to give you some. My students believe Wikipedia. All right. All right. Let's see, we did about 3 minutes of that. That's all we have slated for that. And Shirley, would you be so kind as to put the slide deck in the chat? Actually, I might be able to do that. That should be it right there. Oh, so Angie says it's made it into her science classroom as part of research. Thank you, Angie. All right, we're gonna move forward. Thank you everybody for joining in. And here we go. So that's some artwork from my class. This is artwork by an 8th grade Hoover student last semester. In order to get into the media literacy unit, we explored conspiracy theories to begin with. And we talked about issues facing our community. And then we explored some NPR podcasts as well, of which you're gonna get some of that information is gonna be a part of this PD. Again, this is critically evaluating media and other media literacy resources. I'm Dr. Ricardo Elizalde, digital learning partner. I'm also newly minted a PBS certified media literacy educator, which I'll tell you what it means in a little bit. I'm from the Department of Technology, and there's my email. Intros. Maybe not intros. Maybe we did the intros already. Thanks, Kevin, for that. Congratulations. We had our warm opener. We talked a tiny bit about media literacy. We're going to look at some objectives. You're going to get a little backstory on this PD and why it was developed, or, you're going to look at 2 lessons that I did in my class: critically evaluating media lesson that has like a specific template that you could use with your classroom. You can adapt it to you fit your needs. And then you also have like an evaluating online information template. I also participated in the National Media Literacy Educators. I didn't participate, but I attended the National Association of Media Literacy Educators, namely. I went to their conference, and I was looking out for all kinds of information because I knew I wanted to design this to bolster the information that I had shared in my class. And so you have a choice board, and then you're going to come back and you're going to tell us how you're going to use this stuff. At different parts, if you notice, there's like 3 chunks to this. Each one will have some interactivity. Objectives and framing. So participants, that's you all, explore and select resources for building a media literacy unit in your classroom. Consider and discuss how to implement resources into your classroom as well. And please, at any point, if you have questions, either Shirley will stop me or I'll look at the chat. I have the chat. I'm looking at it right now. And so yeah, please stop me if you have questions. So like I said, National Association of Media Literacy Educators envisions a day when everyone possesses the ability to access, analyze, evaluate, create, and act using all forms of communication. Media literacy education refers to the practices necessary to foster these skills. So essentially, I really dig the part where we're creating stuff, and I usually focus on that media making aspect and putting together portfolios off of the media that we made. But I was put back into the classroom last semester, and so it's really important that kids are able to analyze, are able to evaluate the media that they consume, because they consume so much of it. My kids consume it all the time, whether it's games or YouTube videos or TikTok videos. We are consumers. So I love the part of becoming creators, but also we have to be able to understand what we're consuming. Namely resources. That's media literacy defined. Namely has some core principles, and this is all these links are live, so you can go to the core principles and see the different pieces. Here are the core principles of Namely. Just if you guys could take a glance at those, just take a minute to read them. Can you put the live link in the chat, Shirley? Would you be so kind?
Sure.
Thank you. All right, so I'm hoping everybody read one. We're not going to spend too much time on that. All right, so go to it if you think that your kids can benefit from looking at it. That's fantastic. Shirley, am I at full screen?
Not yet.
I am? Okay, great.
No, you're not. You're, yeah. I can see your whole background of your,
Okay.
There you go.
All right, I am now, yeah?
That's it. Good
Okay,
job.
so story behind the work. PBS has a media literacy educator badge certificate they give out, and it's a lot. It took me 3 years to get them all. Mostly, I think part of the reason was because I wasn't in the classroom. I was a TSA, but this past year I was in the classroom, and so some of this information either took like teacher's work that was part of the evidence, but you essentially go through these different micro-credentials, and at the end of, you have 8 total, you get your PBS Media Literacy Educator Certificate. This past year, I worked on the Critically Analyzing Media micro-credential and the Evaluating Online Information micro-credential. And so as I was creating it, they ask you to create, they ask you to run through this kind of media and how to run through it. And so I was designing this stuff just for this credential, and I thought that it might be a good idea to put this into play in the classroom. And so in turn, what they asked me to do for the micro-credential, I asked my students to do for some of the work that we were examining. And so we did it over the course of about 2.5 weeks, I think. I'm not sure how long it took us, but you'll see some of their responses to after we went through these resources. And yeah, it's not set in stone. It's not the greatest lesson, but it is a way forward, I think. Any questions about that? All right. Critically evaluating media. So the following slides are how I shared this information with my students last semester. So I'm going to run through about 4 or 5 slides, and then I'm going to ask you to interact a little bit. What issues speak to you? Again, that's artwork from one of my students. And it was kind of in preparation. This media analysis unit was in preparation for a final project because I knew that I wanted them to do one of the KQED media challenges. And I knew that I wanted them to put a little bit of research into the media challenge. And so this was how I began their research project in essence. So in serendipitously, Obama was presenting at Stanford the week that I was doing this at school, and he was presenting about misinformation. And so we're gonna watch a clip. And so this was the do now that day, right? On a sheet of paper, please answer after we watch the video. So they were thinking about their conspiracy theory paper. They were looking at conspiracy theories and think about the upcoming issues research project, and how do they relate to what Obama was talking about here in the video. And I think we're gonna play it like the first 1.5 minutes or so. So bear with me and let me know if it sounds okay, please.
Former President Barack Obama taking on a major problem we all face: disinformation. Today, he gave a speech at Stanford University near Silicon Valley. He says lies and conspiracy theories on social media have weakened democracy. He also suggests that disinformation will get worse because of new technology.
If we do nothing, I am convinced the trends that we're seeing will get worse. With the emergence of AI, disinformation will grow more sophisticated.
But Mr. Obama says there's still hope, and he even offered some solutions. CNBC's Eamon Javers was at Stanford University for the former president's speech. Hi, Eamon.
You know, Tyler, during his 2 terms as president of the United States, Barack Obama was a darling of Silicon Valley. He regularly met with the top technology executives, and he raked in campaign contributions from technology company employees. But today, the 44th president of the United States came here to deliver a message of criticism, saying that social media is corroding democracy and urging the tech companies to do the right thing.
Thank you, everybody. All we see is a constant feed of content where useful, factual information and happy diversions and cat videos flow alongside lies, conspiracy theories, junk science, quackery, and over time we lose our capacity to distinguish between fact, opinion, and wholesale fiction.
Obama called for regulation of the tech.
I played that for my students, and all of a sudden the assignment had like a specific weight to it. And they took, I don't know if they took it a little bit more serious, but the air in the classroom was really kind of like, yeah, it's true. It's true. We all see this nonsense. So I'm gonna move forward. The objective is students will learn the process for critically analyzing media and independently analyze a piece of media of their choosing. That was the brainstorm. We brainstormed about issues facing our community. And then I asked them, I gave them this definition of critical analysis of media is the detailed examination and evaluation of a piece of media by breaking down and studying its parts. So very specific. And then I was reading a book by, let's just jump to it. This was my example for them. And this is what I did for the micro-credential, right? And this is what I did for the micro-credential. And so I asked the creator's perspective and purpose, the production choices, how the media is constructed. And this is my take on, what was this author's name? It was a book called The Undocumented Americans. Carla Cornejo Villavicencio talks about the undocumented Americans. And so, hi, Ms. Prack. And so we did this in class, and they looked at mine. That we listened to a little bit of the National Public Radio podcast. I think we listened to about 5 minutes, and then it was their turn to do it. And so when it was their turn, their document looked a little bit different. Their document looked like this. What is one issue that you wrote down for the brainstorm? Choose a podcast from NPR Society and Culture, News and Politics, Music, or Science and Tech section. As you decide on choosing an episode, think of connecting it to an issue from your brainstorm. So it could be something. Shirley, can you share the slide deck again, please? It could be, it was something of their choosing, right? And then they had to tell me who produced it. What are the first and last names of the hosts? Is there a tagline or a subtitle? Why is it produced? Is it to inform or entertain? What types of stories? And then the production choices. How is the media constructed? Is it an interview? Are there other voices besides the main person? And so once they were done with that, they had to answer these questions here. And you'll see some examples of their answers to those questions. And I'll go back. And so let's look at some of these. And instead of me just talking through this whole thing, I'll read the question, and if 3 of you can read these bullet points out loud, that would be fantastic, just so you don't hear me talk the whole time. How has this learning activity changed how you see, understand, and evaluate media you come across? So go ahead and open up your mic and read it out loud. Read the first bullet point out loud, and we'll move through this document that way, just so we get it out there, so we see what the students were actually saying, what they learned, what they took from this.
This activity changed the way I understand and evaluate media, because I don't normally look at soundscapes, music, etc. I've always put all my focus on what the speakers were saying, but never how the sounds in the background affected it. However, this is important because the sounds can drastically change the tone and feeling of the media.
Thank you very much. Next bullet point. You can read that out loud for us.
This learning activity changed how I see media, since now I know what's going on behind the process of making things on the media.
Thank you very much. Last bullet point.
This learning activity changed how I see, understand, and evaluate media I come across by breaking down its parts, as well as the overall importance of seeing its purpose in the viewpoints. I also learned the significance of observing the production of a medium and how it can affect how I engage with the piece.
These kids surprise me, sometimes, you don't think they're really smart individuals. Let's do the next one. This time, if we could add, state your name and what school you're at, that would be fantastic, because otherwise you're just anonymous voices in the ether. Discuss one of the strategies you learned for analyzing media. In what ways is this ability important in school and in your day-to-day?
Tiffany at ER Taylor. One of the strategies I learned was to look into what the purpose and tone of a piece of media is, like whether the piece is used to entertain or inform. This is important in my day-to-day life because it's very useful when digging into anything. From something your teacher said to a text message your friend sent, we analyze everything without thinking, and understanding the tone of something is very important.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Who's next?
Matt from Alvarado Elementary. I learned that paying attention to the aspect of the author can change how the audience picks up and processes the information.
Bravo. Thank you, Matt. Good to hear your voice, sir. Who's next?
Terry Denman.
Hey.
One of the strategies I learned for analyzing media is asking questions or challenging a piece to see its biases, as well as to recall what I engaged in a piece. This is important in school and my day-to-day, as it is important to understand the information given to me and get the bigger picture of details that are exchanged.
Thank you very much, Terry. It's good to hear your voice as well. Let's do the same thing for the last one. What decisions or actions of yours might be different due to this new understanding?
I'm Amelia from Roosevelt Middle School.
Thank you, Amelia.
Some actions and decisions of mine that may be different due to this new understanding would be that I can now analyze or take in any sort of information with a much more open mindset, and I can think clearly about different things from different perspectives.
Thank you. And next, let's see if we can see that.
Marge Fujikawa is up.
Thank you.
Decisions of actions of mine that might be different is maybe to gather if there are biases in a piece and its intention. Perhaps observing if a medium has one. If a medium has one, can invite me to do further research into a topic to get a more comprehensive view of the discussion.
I'll read the last one. Thank you, folks, for jumping in and reading. I'm Ricardo Lozali from the Department of Technology. My habit of trusting every source of information now changed since I know that there are many fraud websites out there in the media. All right, thanks for engaging, folks. All right, so now we're gonna give you a bit, I think I put a question, a note and questions, or maybe it's just one question. Because the NPR podcast had some adult language, this lesson was geared towards 8th grade. A way to make it fit the lower grades is if you vet and use a podcast for a younger audience. Here's a list to get you started. And I think Common Sense is sharing these podcasts today, but also there's some wonderful podcasts that you could choose from for younger kids. And they could do the same thing. They could work through it and listen to the tones and listen to the pieces that way. And maybe I could also make the questions a little bit simpler. Take a few minutes to read through the resources in the chat or open the mic. How would you adapt this to fit your classroom? What do you guys think? So a couple minutes to do this, look through the resources, go back a few slides, and in the chat or open the mic, tell us what you think. See about 2 minutes to do this, I think. All right, so what do you guys think? How would you use these resources? You can open your chat, say it in chat or say it in into the mic. What do you think? How would you adapt this?
So I'm Tiffany from ER Taylor again.
Hey,
I'm
Tiffany.
trying to figure out how to type this, but it's just not coming up. Like,
Yeah.
oh, what do I really want to say? So I teach first grade. I'm K2 teacher. And like the big question for me, I love Common Sense Media. The big question for me too is like, how do they learn to listen to who's telling the story? Who's included, who's not included, because that's a big part of their growth at that age.
Mm-hmm.
And sort of think about what they're doing on their phones or their parents' phones or their iPads. Mostly it's phones now, but they're looking at a ton of YouTube and TikTok and all sorts of stuff. And so just starting to have that critical thinking develop early.
Mm-hmm.
And then also some hacks. I was actually just telling the story yesterday when we did our animal reports in second grade and they were looking up animals. And I always said, you have to add 4 kids at the end because you can get yourself into trouble. And of course, one kid was like, looked up cougars and it was a disaster. And I was like, 4 kids, so it's kind of teaching like some hacks and some skills around that.
Love that hack.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, it was funny. But anyhow, that kind of thing, like how do you do that? It's really young and simple. So it's not much, but they're exposed to so much right now. So, and also teaching them how to stop. You don't need to watch something that's scary. You just don't.
Right. You can walk away. You can turn it off.
Exactly. so that kind of stuff. I like those resources you shared though.
Right on. Great. There's a few more. Sarah typed out her response. She said, I think this could be adapted for my journalism classroom by actually scaling it up as a jumpstart for a research topic. So having them then choose a topic like the impact of social media or how disinformation spreads, research it, and report on it through creating a newscast. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, I'd love to see that too. Only 2 for middle school students and 1 for teens. Have to listen to them to decide how to use. Okay, very good. All right. So we're gonna move forward. Thank you for. I wanted to make sure I didn't talk through the whole time because that gets boring. So here we go. This was the evaluating online information information. It started with a do now. How do you verify sources? How do you know if a source is credible or not? The objectives, various lateral reading to help evaluate the credibility of an online source. I showed this video, which is not very long, so I'm going to show it to you guys. And I wanted them to take notes so that they could tell me what lateral reading was. And so here's the video. And let me know if the sound is coming in. Okay, that's not the video.
How are you taught to evaluate the credibility of online sources? Everyone knows that information on the web may be shallow, incomplete, inaccurate, or heavily biased, and many of us have been taught to explore the features of a website to assess its credibility. You may have learned to ask, is this site a .com or a .org? Does the site incorporate advertisements? Was it written by someone who appears to have appropriate expertise? Are there citations to supporting evidence or research? Is the information current? While sometimes useful, these questions can also misdirect you because they rely on superficial markers of credibility and authority. For example, some .org websites may be reliable and nonpartisan, while others may be partisan political action groups or even promoters of widely debunked conspiracy theories. On the other hand, some of the most authoritative news websites are .coms with advertisements, such as the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal. Relying on superficial markers to evaluate credibility can be problematic because most websites won't say, "I was designed by a biased political organization with an intent to manipulate you," or "I'm leaving out important information that might give you a more objective perspective on this issue," or "I was written by an uninformed person with no relevant expertise." So how do we improve our ability to evaluate websites when we know that some individuals and organizations may be working hard to misrepresent themselves and misinform us? By using a skill called lateral reading. Lateral reading is a simple concept used by professional fact checkers and other savvy thinkers to judge the credibility of unfamiliar sources. While many of us judge a website by reading vertically, scrolling up and down to look for markers of credibility, or perhaps clicking on links within the site, fact checkers jump outside the site, using new browser tabs to seek additional information about the site's credibility, reputation, funding sources, and potential biases. In other words, fact checkers read laterally or horizontally across multiple web pages to get a big picture view of the site they're evaluating. They use Wikipedia, credible news sources, and other references on the web to understand what a source is and how credible it might be. They don't just take the source's word for it. For example, this news story on heavy metal music fan culture is on phys.org, a website that may be unfamiliar to us. But if I open up a new tab, I can search for information about phys.org and find out that it's a news aggregator that often republishes science news from across the web. I can also verify that the research discussed in the news story originated from University College London and PhD anthropology student Lindsay Bishop. By doing some homework on the source through lateral reading, we get a much better sense of what this source is and its level of credibility. We can also begin to think about its strengths and limitations from a more informed point of view. In this case, we might decide the information is reliable and a good starting point. But we might also want to look beyond this brief news story and find the original research or other more in-depth scholarly information. With lateral reading, you can move beyond the superficial aspects of website evaluation and develop a more nuanced and more complete perspective on the credibility of your sources.
So that's what I showed to my students. And then we had a little talk. And we have Lorraine saying, make sure that professional fact checker isn't bought and paid for by anyone, or you'll be led astray. Thank you for that, Lorraine. So you have to watch out even for professional fact checkers. Then they got something like this. I was going to apply it, but I don't think we need to apply it. I sent them to 5 Ways Congress. I sent them to this piece of media, 5 Ways Congress can solve the border crisis. And then we looked up fair.us. And then I told them to use lateral reading to assess credibility. Let's embark on it. Let's see what the video says, and let's see if we can't come up with whether, let's practice lateral reading right now and see what you guys say. So this is a 30-second video. So then I had them look up fairus.org to assess the credibility. Go ahead, open mic or in chat, tell whether fair.us is a credible source. Go ahead, let's practice a little bit of lateral reading before we move forward. So Susan says they're an anti-immigration organization. So maybe that means it's not credible. I think Wikipedia is a space that you can, Maria is saying, is Wikipedia credible? I think Wikipedia is a good jumping off point. It'll give you a synopsis of what the space is from and give you some other links to go and vet out the source that you're looking at. So what else do we know about fair.us? Oh, you're welcome, Maria. I was taught in rhetoric class that wiki is fine, but use the reference box located at the bottom of each page. Exactly, Linda, exactly. All right, anybody else want to open up their mic and tell us a little bit about fair.us.org or fairus.org?
Well, after some lateral searching, I found that it was formed in 1979 by someone who's a population control advocate and nativist, John Tanton, who believes immigration is this problem and is very anti-immigrant. So that would give you the bias on that.
Very good. Thanks. All right, great. Thank you. You guys engaged in lateral reading. It was really quick hit in my classroom too. And then that was only practice, right? And so evaluating online information is a process that the reader goes through to assess the credibility of their information. That was the definition I gave them. And then they have the document that looked similar to the one I used for before, and they had to do the same thing. They had to assess the credibility of 4 different pieces about the same topic. And I actually encourage them to use the research databases, the SFUSD research databases to get started. And hopefully they were looking at the issue that they wanted to explore. All right. So let's see. And then I'm going to leave this because I think we're kind of running out of time. And I want you to look through the resource decks that I created. So again, you could look through these reflections, and it kind of worked, this having them look at media like this. So media literacy resources. All right, so this is like the stuff that I got from the National Association of Media Literacy Educator Conference. And I decided to create 2 choice boards for you. One choice board was to-go media literacy resources. You can use them as soon as they're like videos and stuff, so or graphics, and you could use them very quickly. And then the other one is digging deeper media literacy resources. And so we have the News Literacy Project, where it has a bunch of different. Yeah, I know, Shirley, I know it's tough to do. And so as you browse through, you can browse through these 2 resources. There's 9 boxes in each, so there's like 18 different resources. Plus there's the 2 lessons that we had that I shared with my students. So choose one and browse or go back and check out the 2 lessons that were shared. Select 1 or 2 that you may use or adapt in your classroom. And then if you got some stuff that should be added to some of these to-go media literacy resources, or some digging deeper resources that you know about, let me know and I'll add them to it. And this will be a good resource to come back to. So I'm gonna say about 10 minutes to look through this stuff, and then we'll come back and have a discussion about it. Does that make sense, everybody? Cool. All right, good people. I'm gonna share my screen again. Thanks for browsing. Hopefully you got some good information. So I actually decided to change it up a little bit because somebody added a really wonderful resource, and I thought, wow, I don't have anywhere to grab those resources, and if you put it in the chat, it'll probably disappear, or I'll have to go back to it. I think Sabina added a really good resource. So on the left side, if you have a resource that you would like to share, go ahead and link it there. That would be fantastic and good information for me to add to these documents. If you see it, maybe add to these documents, maybe not. So in the chat or on mic, what did you see? What did you like? What can you use? And what will you explore further? So go ahead and open up your mic, or you go to breakout rooms, but breakout rooms have been iffy for this thing. But so we'll just have this big giant conversation. And please, if you do have a resource that you'd like to share, I'll go ahead with that document. Everybody has edit access to that document where it says discussion doc, right on the left there. So yeah.
I liked everything I saw. Oh, this is Leonore, I'm family advocate at Lincoln.
Hey.
But I was wondering if we had resources like that in Spanish or Chinese.
Oh, that would be something that needs to be developed. Do you have any resources that you would like to share with us that do just that in Spanish or Chinese?
No, but I'll ask the students when class begins next week.
Yeah, by all means, that'd be fantastic. I'm sure actually Common Sense Media has some information in Spanish for this information.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Kevin says he checked the To-Go Media Literacy resources, then dug deeper into the additional resources, focusing on Kristen Weir. Her bio provides a background in which to view what the author of the page Confirmation Bias and Motivated Reasoning considers relevant, and a look into their thinking process. Thank you, Kevin. Do you want to say a little bit more about that, or?
Well, first thing, I'm using this in the classroom. I do want to kind of know where the authors are coming from, their take on things, how open they are. So digging a little bit deeper in that one kind of gives me an idea that this could be a good tool for my students, just kind of looking at her background. And it's like, okay, they're trying to get a balanced approach and give students this view of the bias they can have within media and the different directions, whether it's, as in that page, conscious or unconscious, whether they're really paying attention to, okay, I think the example you used was umpires calling strikes to their team. And it's whether or not I noticed that they call more strikes on my team than any other baseball team, versus they're calling strikes because they don't like us.
Right. Fair enough. That's a good analogy. Anybody else? What did you see? What did you like? Thank you for that, Kevin.
First grade from E.R. Taylor. I liked the video I saw about red light, green light, and yellow light for assessing information. It was very simple, and it was really super easily adaptable for my primary grades.
That's fantastic. Was that on the To-Go?
Yeah, that was on the To-Go, and let me see if I have no idea. There's too many things open. I don't know where to find it, but yeah, it was on the To-Go somewhere. In
I know. I started thinking when I put this together, I had just one, and then I was like, well, there's like stuff that you want ready, take and you can put it into the classroom the next day, or
PBS. That's what it was. PBS Student Reporting Labs. How do I navigate information on social media? That's what I really dug. That was really cool.
Fantastic. I'm glad to hear it. Anybody else? We got some folks on the resource document. Thank you very much. Whoever added Ad Fontes Media. It's fantastic. Actually, I'll say something about one of these. What I didn't get a chance to use in the classroom, but what I really wanted to, you kind of run out of time, was one of the News Literacy Project's pieces called Checkology. And I believe it's free for everybody to use, and they don't grab too much student information. They don't grab any student information. So look into the News Literacy Project and look into Checkology, and your students, I think if they're older kids, right, from 6th through 12th grade, probably 5th grade as well, can use Checkology and learn how to vet sources and stuff like that. And then, of course, the Stanford History Education Group. Yeah, are they long? Susan, have you used the Checkology lessons? And how'd the kids respond to them? You're welcome, Maria. You're welcome. So we're at about 12:10. You guys have gotten some information from me. Let's go back, and I think we're about ready to close out, unless you guys have a few more things to say. Open up your mic and let us know. If not, we're gonna head to the closing of this session. And yeah, let me know how I can make this a little bit more robust, a little bit better. It's brand new. So let's head to the closing, everybody. Go ahead and give us some feedback. Give me some feedback. Tell me something. If you loved it, if you hated it, tell me. Bitly 2022 DDD feedback. And I think Shirley has also pasted the information in the chat. If you could paste that information again in the chat, the feedback information, Shirley, that would be great. And then I am saying thank you and gracias and arigato and merci. I'm Ricardo Lozaldi, Digital Learning Partner. Thanks for joining me today, everybody. And Linda, thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you guys dug it. I'm glad you guys liked it. Yeah, tell me what and let me know, reach out if you have another resource, if you want me to add something to this, by all means. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Thank you, folks. And with that, I'll be on till 12:15, but that's it for this PD. Thank you, Ms. Pratt. It's good to see you here, Ms. Pratt. Happy Hoover. Thank you.
To see you.
What happened?
Great to see you as well.
Great to see you. Yeah.
Have a great year.
Yeah, you too.
Thank
Hold it
you.
down over there at Hoover.
Yes.
I know you will.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a good afternoon.
Yeah, you too. Take it easy. Yeah, tell me. What's up?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Hey, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
What's
look
up,
at
man?
five.
Hey, it's my
I'm over
Hoover.
here. I'm like,
Well,
yeah, man. I was like, I'm like, Dr. E, can't hear me. I was having audio problems.
How are you?
I'm good, man. I hope you're doing okay. I was gonna thank you for the word lateral reading. Right?
Yeah, man.
Something that I've been trying to explain to my friends for like half
the
a
video,
decade.
man.
Bro, because then they, like people be pulling up articles from like I don't even know what type of sources, and they don't even know what they talk about, and it'll be like a wild article. So I I didn't have that word at my to kind of talk about like check your sources and see
Right.
where it's coming from. So
No,
that
it's
was
good
cool.
information, man.
Yeah.
When I
We
ran
even
the
got-
kids through it,
Hey,
they were like, their eyes were open.
Yeah, no, kids definitely need it. And I mean, even like just the idea of just opening another tab real quick and kind of searching that way, right? With the actual physical lateral reading. That was cool for me. Like I actually missed that last activity because then I was all in Daniel A. Collins or whatever the hell his name was. Like the article before, I started searching that, and then I ended up on like 6 tabs open. Nah, it was cool, man. Thanks, man. Appreciate
You're welcome, sir. It's good to see you here, man.
Yeah.
You well.
You too.
Susan asked me a question. She said, am I going to be continuing any of this in the D-Leaf program? I'm not sure. So far, no. But I think there's a couple of one-offs where I can add it to the D-Leaf program. And by all means, Susan, if you need a thought partner on this stuff, I could come out to your school. We could have a Zoom chat, and we could build something together. No, it's fine. If your mic doesn't work, your mic doesn't work. Yeah, let me know. There's my. I'll put my email for everybody. There's my email. Oh, it's on the screen too. But here you go. Let me know. We'll be reaching out tomorrow. Today is kind of a packed day, but yeah, you're welcome, Brandon. All right, folks, I'm gonna close the room. You all be well. Thank you for coming. Glad the information was useful. Shirley, we did it.
Great job, Renato. That was just amazing.
Was it?
Every moment was exciting. It was interesting.
Stop it.
You just used the video so well. Those little segments there. Of course, Obama. Oh, come on. You really rocked it then. And then you're just so interesting. Love you to pieces.
Thank you very much, Shirley. I appreciate you jumping on so late with this.
Oh, my pleasure.
Carmen, the PDs will be loaded. The recordings will be loaded probably by the end of the day today. You're welcome, Carmen. And with that, but with 1 week until students, how do I integrate this for the first week? That to-go one, man. That's why I made the one to-go one. Please choose something from there and integrate. All I did was show the lateral reading video and told them to select something that they wanted to listen to. It was pretty easy. And you don't have to do it, it could be a one-off and then come visit it later, Kevin. What grade do you teach, Kevin? So yeah, I would do something like this with, above the noise videos, maybe talk a little bit about science, and you can bring them that way. Here, let me
Ricardo, I do use a lot of stuff from HHMI, Gladstones when I could. Again, with the science, it tends to be the science vocabulary as well as the other vocabulary because they're often talking to grad students.
Okay.
People. But even there, I mean, going back on evolution and versus creationism, and Malcolm Behe, the chemistry professor at Berkeley, it's just looking at, okay, he's making a comment on evolution. You see that. What is his background? He's a chemist, good chemist. But it's like, okay, what is his background in terms of evolution too?
Sure. That's true.
So it's kind of like, what is the bias, and then how's the argument constructed?
Right. I wanted to give you a link to the above the noise videos, because that might be a quick, easy entry for your students as well.
I heard of that.
It's a good space.
Organize your business your way.
Man. Oh, you know what, man? I don't know. Here, give me a second. Here, it's the discussions on KQED Learn. Here's another resource for you. I'm putting it in the chat. So there are, I mean, there's some science videos in there, and that you can use with your classroom. And then you could just have a conversation about those science videos. That's one way to start.
Yeah.
All right,
Thanks.
Kevin. Yeah, you're welcome, man. I'm gonna log off. Thanks
right.
for your time. Thanks for joining us today.
No problem. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too, man. Good luck this year.
Hi, folks. This is Shirley. I was the moderator for this session. I'm going to go ahead and end the recording as well as end this session. So thank you all for attending. It was an amazing presentation. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Okay, take care. Bye.